this video is about how day 7 through day 13 went, what went good, what went bad, but I think the most important thing is what I learned from the things that didn't go well this week. Because let's be honest, this week was Thanksgiving week. If you don't know me, my name is Echo, and I create videos about how a normal, everyday, average person can work through their problems, work through their struggles, and still see great improvement in their life. So let's get to work. Okay, so how did this week go? Let's just say that this week it didn't go as I had planned for it to go. And I had sat down, I had all these grand ideas on how I was going to handle Thanksgiving, but sometimes in our lives things happen that are unexpected. And this unexpected thing was my period. And you may be saying periods are not unexpected. You can plan for those. So I have PCOS, and before carnivore, I got my period about 4 times a year. No, you didn't hear incorrectly. I am saying I got my period about 4 times a year. So when I got it, my app that I use to track these things still said that my period was 40 days away. And so, yes, I was not expecting that. And I also don't handle when I get my period well. And I think one of the reasons I don't handle it is because I don't have to deal with it that often. And so I turn into this crying, back hurting, crampy, black hole of a person. And by black hole, I mean I will eat anything I can get my hands on. So if you want an example of how things went, I cried at the supermarket in the frozen food aisle because they were out of pecan pies. Yes, they were out of pecan pies, and that made me over emotional apparently. I also cried like a baby when we watched Disenchanted. I thought about food 24/7, and if I could remember my dreams better, I could probably safely say that I dreamt about food. So I did not handle this as well as I could. And that is an excuse. I could have planned better, but I just didn't. I didn't think that this was something that I would have to deal with this week, and I did. And I handled it poorly. And so from now on, I have to think, okay, so this is something that I might have to deal with monthly. And that sucks because I don't think having your period is fun, but it also makes me think that this diet is exactly what my body needs, because 3 months on this diet, 3 periods. That has never happened to me before, even when my weight was lower, everything like that. And what I think is the best thing about this diet is that I upped my fat content. I think that my body actually likes that. Because in the past, even when I binged, I didn't binge on fatty foods. I binged on sugar. I binged on carbs. And my regular diet, I tried to do low calorie and low fat, like very little fat. And by very little fat, I mean I hadn't had real butter before this year in a long, long time. My butter came in a spray form, and I carried it around with me so I could spray things with it. I wasn't using oils either. I was cooking my vegetables, and I was like, oh, I don't want them to stick to the pan. Better throw some water in there. And that was my reality. So I think my body was very fat deprived. And this is really the first diet where I'm getting over that fat phobia. And it is doing good things for me. So even though it threw a wrench in my plan and I ate how I didn't intend, because when I say I didn't eat carnivore, I mean, it wasn't even keto, it wasn't low carb, it wasn't anything. And I think that as I continue on, it is definitely helping my body get to where it needs to be. I'm sorry if you watch this and you think that is too much information, but that is where I am coming from as a person who has PCOS and had very, very irregular periods. So what on my plan actually worked? So there was one thing on my plan that worked, and that was that I sat down and I was like, okay, so how did last year go, and how am I going to make this year different? Because my idea was, if I can't be perfect, because that's what always trips me up. I go into the holidays telling myself, you know what, you're going to be perfect. You're going to do it this time. You're going to make it through. Instead of making those side dishes, you know what, you're going to make vegetables. And I have been through all of that before. There have been times where I got all the way up to the holiday and I'm like, nope, not making side dishes, not doing that at all, and sent my husband out on the day of or the night before really late and been like, no, I can't do it. We're going to do it. We're going to make this. Or where I make it through the holiday and then I feel like I missed out. And so we make it the next day. And that may sound silly, but those are all things that I have done in the past. And so I went into it this time being like, you know what? You're not going to be perfect. So why don't you think about last year? And my goal was to be better. Considering everything that was going on, I think that this year for Thanksgiving went better than last year. I think, believe it or not, on my period, I think I ate less than I ate last year, because last year I remember eating till I was sick, and this year I did not eat till I was sick. I did not eat an entire pie. Yes, I said an entire pie, because last year I ate an entire pecan pie by myself. And this year I was nowhere close to eating an entire pie by myself. My plan was I wasn't even going to buy the pie, but as I said earlier, crying in the aisle over them not having the pie kind of made my husband be like, do you need a pie? And I was like, yes, I need this pie or I will die. That sounds very cheesy, but that's kind of how it went. He went out to get me that pie. Even though things did not go as I planned, things can still go better than you anticipate. And so I was like, well, thinking about carnivore, is carnivore something that I can do through the holiday season? And so initially I thought, hey, carnivore is something that I am going to have trouble doing over the holiday season. But then I thought, you know what? Carnivore is really going to help me be where I need to be through the holiday season. Because when I am eating carnivore, I am not on this emotional roller coaster. Because when I have sugar and I have carbs, I get over emotional. Not period aside, I get over emotional. I don't think as well. I don't think as clearly. I don't make as good of decisions for my life and for myself, for my family. And so with the end of the year coming up, I really need that clarity. I really want to enjoy things as opposed to stumble through them from meal to meal. And so I know that I can make it work, because I have already been to an event that happened to be a dessert event, which makes me really proud to say that I made it through it without having a dessert by putting bacon in my purse. Yep, I put bacon in my purse. And I didn't feel left out while I was eating bacon. How could you feel left out while you were eating bacon? Even some of the people that were sitting around me eating their dessert were like, hey, where'd you get that bacon? And I'm like, my purse. And and so while I was thinking of that, I was like, some bacon in your purse isn't going to work every time. And I was like, well, why not? Why wouldn't it work? Because, I have been there before where I've told myself that I need to plan, that I need to take something. And what I usually took was this dry piece of chicken breast, because that's what I thought somebody on a diet, somebody who was being healthy should eat, and some plain broccoli, no butter, no nothing on it. And of course I feel like I'm left out when I am eating dried chicken breast and some plain broccoli. But when I am eating bacon, I don't feel left out at all. So maybe I'll become that weird girl that's eating bacon. Because also it does another thing. When you take bacon out of your purse, ain't nobody going to ask you, oh, you're on a diet. Oh, you're trying to be good. Because they're going to be like, okay, she brought something, but she brought bacon. The one thing I don't like is when people ask me or tell me, oh, you're trying to be good. You're doing so good. I really don't like that, because it makes me want those terrible foods even more. It makes me jealous that I can't have them. But when you have bacon, ain't nobody gonna say, oh, she's on a diet. She is trying to be good, because it's bacon. So maybe I will just become that weird girl with bacon in her purse. So how did my weight go? My weight did go up. I anticipated that my weight would go up with this week. But you know what? Normally I would say, this is terrible. My weight went up. But my weight is just a metric of what went on this week. And that is the way I'm choosing to think about it. So yes, last week I was 231. And this week I'm 235.6, so that is a gain of 4.6 pounds. So I canceled it out and I'm exactly where I was when I started. And you know, that's not a bad thing as long as I take what I learned this week and apply it from now on. So that was my update. Hopefully this week goes well, and I will talk to you next time. Okay, bye.